I felt myself rising up, and I saw myself in the studio.
Why with Toy Story 4, when you were reading the final lines, uh, did you feel like you were having an out-of-body experience?
Oh yeah, that was something else. We did the first Toy Story 25 years ago. It was in the 90s. We had come in just to take part in this new brand of animation, a new process of animation in a pretty hip story. And everybody has had a toy that they brought to it real life characteristics. I know I certainly did. And so I thought there was just a beautiful amalgam of real human emotion by way of the logic of the toys. We were part of some kind of like masterpiece, some sort of like benchmark in the industry and in the art of animation. And we knew it. And you think, well, hey, we did that okay. Glad I was a part of that. When we did the second one, the Disney brass had this whole kind of like formula that said, the thing to do after you have a really big movie is to do a cheaper version of it and just put it out on video, because everybody who loved the movie will buy the video. So again, it was Tim and I. And we were there. We happened to be at the studio at the same time to go in and come out. And I looked at him and I said, this is really good, isn't it? He said, yeah, Tim is, Tim, yeah, no, this is great. I don't understand why it's not coming out. I got to talk to Eisner about this thing. This is too good to just throw out on that. I said, well, we ended up both communicating to the brass. Why are you just taking the easy money and going to DVD? I understand it'll be profitable. I get that. But the second one, from a script story point of view, is as great as the first one was. What's the deal here? And to Disney's credit, they pondered it and they decided to pony up the extra money because it's more expensive. Then a long time went by till we did the third one. And oh my, I mean, that third one made my wife cry. So, but now it's been coming on like to more than 15 years since we had done the first one. So the question as to whether or not there could be a fourth one, I think was weighed with the responsibility of making a fourth one. I think they were saying, we don't know. I'm not sure this is the case, but I think we don't know if we can equal the first three with a fourth one. And I said, I get that. All right, I get that. But then they came to us and they said, we think we have something. After all that and the better part of 25 years, to know that I was going back into recording Studio B, very famous room on the Disney lot. It's where we had begun it. It's where I recorded the first lines as Woody, and it was where we were recording the very last lines as Woody as well. I had a bit of a life flash before our eyes. I think we all did. Everybody, Don Rickles has passed away. Lee Ermey passed away. So many people who were the original voices were no longer there, were no longer part of it. And Tim and I were still there. I still got the same high squeaky voice, and Tim's still down there, where he can complain and gripe. And we had compared notes. I said, have you been in for that? Have you recorded the last scene yet? And no, I haven't. Have you been? And knowing that I was driving in to do it for the last time, I just thought, this doesn't happen that often in a career. I mean, you always have a last day of a movie. And for some people, they have the last day of a franchise. But the four Toy Story movies were as individual as the Beatles were, John and Paul and George and Ringo were all very different people. But together they were the Beatles. And when that last day, I was recording something. We were recording the last lines, and I felt myself rising up, and I saw myself in the studio. And that's, when that happens, that's one of the great blessings and curses of being an actor. You have to work so hard in order to defeat the self-conscious that you feel as a human being. But then as an artist, you end up seeing yourself as part of this great artistic process. And it ends up being a spiritual moment.
Why were you surprised by the lack of purpose you felt after that?
It's like when the kids, when your kids leave home. They've been growing up in the same bedroom all their lives, and now they're gone, and it's not going to be their bedroom anymore. I said to my wife, I said, something grand has finished. We have finished something. And not only was there a bit of a post-creative depression that the Toy Stories were done, but there was also a sense of how complete an experience it was. You know, because as an actor, I will say that the hardest physical work I've ever done as an actor has been the recording of those movies, because you cannot move. You have no costume to hide in. You have no motion in order to animate the emotion. You don't get to do that. You have to stay locked in place on microphone and only use your imagination and your voice in order to go there. And I think I've probably recorded half of all the Toy Story movies with my eyes closed, because you're trying to imagine a place to get.